So as mentioned that this is a very like small, because their syllabus is too less actually, only 4 modules are there, and we are on the third module itself by now, since this like it's not a physical classroom, a virtual classroom. So we have moved really fast, the syllabus is running. So my part is getting over, so it's now up to you that you have to study, you have to start studying. I hope that I clearly mentioned that it's like on October you will be having your test, right? So please everyone start studying. So let us move to the last class. So in the previous classes, so I started with the risk assessment methodology. Okay, so we discussed there are actually 7 steps are there, out of which we like discuss the 4 steps. Just let's have a brief revision of it, and then we'll move to the like other 3 steps. Okay, phases of it. Just let me share the slide. Okay. So here we have seen first of all the sources of risk. What are the sources of risk? In the previous classes, we know that risk comes from 2 sources. First is the internal risk, and in the second one is the external risk. External risk in like comes from like any natural disasters, natural disaster, than any like political change or technology and technical risk. So lot of the activities which are not in our hand, we cannot change the like external risk, we cannot try to completely ignore it but or reduce it, because it's from the external factors. For the internal risk, what happens, it's from within the organization, so we can try to minimize it. So these were the first steps of risk management. So I told you there is a 7 step process. So we studied about the first steps, that is to establish the context. So first we need to establish the context. So in that we see there is a few steps are there. We need to first define the scope for it, and define the scope and the objectives for it, and then later we have to find out who are the people who have interest in our organization, and inform every step from the beginning of a project. We must inform the people who are having interest in it, whether it's like any people who takes interest in our organization in the or like our project is known as the stakeholders. So we have to identify them and we have to inform them. So these are the source of information, how this source information gathering was done. So this all the business plans and strategic plans is there, reports of various audits assets that have been conducted. So these are the things were discussed in the earlier class, so I won't go into the depth of it. Second is the risk identification. Once you have evaluated the context, then you have to find the risk identified. Okay, so how will you, so these are the questions that needs to be uh, like when you go for identifying the risk, these are the questions you need to ask. Okay, what could happen if the risk is there, or how it could happen, how it could affect your project, or how it could affect the organization, what are the reasons for the occurrence of this risk, like how it will impact your organization or the project. Because when we're discussing this class, so any kind of loss, any kind of risk will impact in terms of loss, so whether it's a financial loss or like in sometimes a human life loss. Okay, so we should take care of it. So we should identify the risk, whether it will result into what kind of losses, right? Then we will analyze the risk. Okay, so we will have to identify the control, the procedures, and we have to analyze it, the risk, the probability of that risk, and how what is the impact, what will be the impact of this rose and risk, and then we'll rate that risk. And the last one we studied is the evaluate the risk. Okay, so we have studied about the risk altitude, risk appetite, and the risk tolerance. So that day I also mentioned that analyzing risk identification, analyzing the risk, and evaluate the risk together, these 3 things together form the risk assessment, right? These are the things known as the risk assessment. Now continuing with the um, evaluation of the risk only, we also have some risk assessment methodologies. So we have studied here few methodologies, I have mentioned on the 4 of them. So first is the assess the audit pipeline model. Attack trees, it's not that regular trees, okay, it's a kind of bug, we'll see now. And next one is the octave. So what does this asset audit does? It's like if you asset Like what are the assets, it can be any financial, we'll discuss also. It can be your financial or any public asset. So this will look all the information assets, like of the organization. Okay, whatever assets you have, whatever the information assets you have, it will determine whether like each of the assets is protected properly by performing threat analysis. So this will be does there or here your asset will be audited. Okay, that is it will be analyzed. Okay, next is the pipeline model. So it was given by a doctor named by person named Dr. David F.C. Brewer. So in this it is like it will access the security of transactional systems. So it is this pipeline model is help in accessing the security system. Next is the attack truth. So I told you it's not a normal tree, right? So don't get confused. So they will just they will just provide a way of accessing the system based on like who is the person, like when they are using the system, how they are using, like on the probability of the risk. They will find basically what probability and at what probability an attack can happen. Now we don't have to know about the octave. Just you can have an idea of what is the acronym for this octave. Is the operational critical threat, asset and vulnerability. Okay, that is the full form for this octave. That operational critical threat, asset and vulnerability. Okay, all right. So moving to some kinds of like risk assessment template, we have these are some risk assessment template is there. So first is the information classification, sorry, asset and information classification table. So I told you right, this asset can be divided into two types. So you have two types of assets. So information asset classification and physical asset classification. So this information asset classification will include the intellectual property, restricted use, then public use, like otherwise enterprise also things are there. That physical asset will physical asset classification will also include like this extremely critical, critical, medium critical or non-critical. So these are the basically types of assets. Now these things needs to be entered over in this table. Okay, these values need to be like asset, whether it's a information asset, like all these things will be entered here. Okay, that's it will be see how it is done is asset, type of asset, that whether it is physical or not, or then classification. Any asset you are giving, suppose my building. Okay, suppose building. So it is like it falls under the information asset or not. Okay, so because intellectual property and how asset is that classification. So how will you classify it? So that is the table for the asset and information table. This is how you evaluate. Okay, we are in the step 4. We are evaluating the risk. Next is the threat asset. So threat asset, we already are aware. Threat means it will find, it is used, this table is used to find like what kind of threat will be there. Okay, so for like information you for information asset, what we did, we need to like find how the information is received by the system. Okay, these things we need to analyze, like how the information is how like the information, the like project you got, how like how you received from whom, like through proper research or transmitted out of the system, then how it is stored and processed, all these things. And later we find the probability whether its occurrence will be what is its likelihood, whether it be high, low, medium. So we have to analyze it. So this all this threat analysis is done and kept in this table. It is stored in this table, threat asset table. So we have the type of asset. Okay, and then from where we have received and how it is transmitted. Then it is a threat mechanism. What is the mechanism we are going to use? So this is how it's a way, again a way of analyzing the evaluating the risk. Next, we have the impact analysis on business. So you can see you have information details are there, information classification, business impact due to loss of confidentiality, business impact due to loss of integrity, business impact due to non-availability. That is the CIA, right? Confidential, integrity and the availability. So overall impact, what is after you have found. So generally you need to find the questionnaires from it, like for confidentially information you have to like how the confidentiality, you have to ask it that how the confidentiality of the data is handled in the system. So it can be either classified or restricted, confidential or highly confidential, the whatever the information you are getting. Then you have unauthorized disclosure also, what will be the impact of it, like no impact or some negative impact, right? And then you have to identify the integrity also. So okay, what is the downtime of the system, if you have a threshold or not, so for about a week or about 1 month. So this kind, or what will be the impact of the uh, downtime. So you have to think of it to determine the availability of the data, whether it will be available 24/7 or not. So all these things you need to find out. So this will be stored in the impact analysis on business table. So next is the risk assessment template. So we have these four things. Okay, the whatever the tables you have seen using the evaluation part, we have this four ways. So first is the information asset identification and clarification. So all the information, right, whatever we studied in the information and the classification table are set by the owners here. Okay, here you will find all the owners have given the first table we have seen, right? This is the asset and information classification table. It will be entered by the owner. Next we have threat assessment. Then threat assessment is done, why because we have to identify the threats, what are the threats the information are carrying. So we have to find the likelihood of threat or not. So if this project have any threat, whether our organization will face any threat. Then the business impact analysis. So this is the table for the business impact analysis. So here we'll know that we'll need to ask a series of questions to find out the impact on the business, right? That just I gave you uh, how your confidentiality is maintained, then the data availability is done, whether it's like how integrity is lost. So we need to classify all these things, right? And last, we will then, after all the three things have been evaluated, we will find the we can determine the risk involved in it. Okay, so this is how we do. So next is the we move to the now fifth step, that is treat the risk. So once we have evaluated the risk, now we can go for treating the risk. We now know how the risk can impact the system, whether it is how much critical the risk is to our system, whether we can now accept it. So based upon that, we can think of totally avoiding the risk, or like taking the risk and like changing the risk into our opportunity. We should now think about it. So now let's see like what is this steps used for. So basically here we need to apply the strategies and mechanisms, so that the I told you it is not always possible to completely eliminate the risk, but we can obviously reduce it. The risk can be reduced. Okay, we can, if when we modify such kind of risk, it is known as the risk treatment. So you can just see that where the first point is there, change the impact of the risk on your system. So when the impact is very high, suppose it's very critical, if we can reduce the impact of it, then it is known as risk treatment. So once the risk assessment is completed, we'll check out if there are options to by which the impacts can be in, like if it was very critical, we can just reduce it, whether it can be reduced to low risk or medium risk. Generally when it is extremely critical, it is not possible to reduce the risk, but obviously some critical risk can be reduced. When it is like extremely critical, it's better to avoid such kind of projects only. Okay, next is that whenever like, and we should always like record such kind of risk. So what are the like risk treatment processes are there? So first of all, like a decision, we have to make a decision whether the risk should be treated or not. So we are, if it is, I told you, right, if it is extremely critical, we not be able to handle it, so it's better we don't like take those risks. Just hold on. Okay, so I just got a call from Saurabh, so just wait. It's okay, I'll just take the class. And okay, then you have to analyze what the possible treatment options. Once you have analyzed the risk, you now have to think about what are the risk treatment available for you. So otherwise, like once a risk treatment goal has been identified, the next step you have to finalize finalize the risk treatment options. So various options are there for risk treatment also. You can, I just told you, one is if the risk is extremely critical, just drop the list. That is, you don't take that risk, you can't eliminate it, so you can avoid it by don't like you if you don't accept that project for your organizations. Or you can accept the risk if it is critical, though the risk is critical, you can accept those risks and think that convert it into your opportunity later. We know that risk can be from various sources, right? From internally, just we studied about the sources of risk, right? It can be from natural disaster, it can be from any legal issues, it can be from political circumstances. So lots of risk can be here, but we have to reduce the probability of the risk occurrence. Okay, and also sometimes we can share the risk. Okay, so the impact of a risk can have a huge financial impact. So I told you, when it comes to any commerce like business, or it is to IT business, like risk results in some like loss in the financial case. So hence the risk can be shared with a third party. Suppose we have, like, think of a cloud infrastructure. The cost of like maintaining the software, like, or using buying the software is too high for a startup company. So what you can do, you can use the cloud services. So your risk is also reduced. Okay, you don't have to buy the software, you are getting the same infrastructure, and you are using the service, so, right, hardly any risk is associated, so you share with them. Then it's this transfer the risk. So just I gave you an example, like often this cloud infrastructure, if we don't have any physical infrastructure, we are paying the money. Okay, what are the activities for the services we are using, but we can transfer in the risk also. Instead of solely managing the on-premise services, we are using the cloud thing. So here, when we transfer the risk, like if the risk is very high, then the treatment plan is to be completely avoided. So I gave you, I'm telling you repeatedly, when you can estimate the risk as low, medium, critical, and again, and the last one is the uh, extremely critical. When you have extremely critical cases, extremely, like, it's not possible for you to reduce those risks, the impact of those risks, what you can do is just avoid it. Don't take that risk. Okay. So obviously for other risks, like for some risk, suppose something which is critical also, you can think, okay, you can convert it, you can reduce it, and you can work on it and convert it into your opportunity. Then you can also obviously accept those risks. And last one is the reduce the possibility of the risk occurrence. So ultimately, like, what you can do after accepting, also you can once the impact, you can reduce the from other sources. What are the sources possible? You can identify the factors from which the risks are coming in, and then you can try to do some kind of options such that the risk is the probability of risk is reduced. Okay. Moving next, we have the uh, monitoring and review process. So next is the monitoring and review. So we'll continuously monitor. So we'll ensure that the risk and its treatment implementation are continuously monitored. So we will check that all the risks that just we in the last step we studied about, that will try to reduce the probability of the risk occurrence. So how will you do it? So by the process of monitoring only. So that it does not any, if we see that there is some hole, drawback in the project is there, so that can be a risk. So we should regularly monitoring. So we are trying to treat the risk regularly, so that it does not impact in a greater way. So monitoring is very important. So the frequency of monitoring will be depend on the risk factors. If it is very critical, so obviously we need to think, and on a regular basis we need to think of it. And if the risk treatment options are part of the this regular management processes followed by followed for the project, then a separate monitoring the risk can be required very frequently. So all these things help in monitoring, the continuous monitoring, management reviews. So under this we will need to review the system. So it is like very important, whatever the management is like happening in the organization, the management should be kept informed, like any kind of risk for the project. So because when you have a project there will be risk involved, so your if your manager don't understand it and they want something like, no, we are not understanding but there are risks involved, then will be problem. So that is why communication should be there. So this risk management reviews should become a part of the project. That is why this internal, whatever we studied, like internal auditing is done on an annual basis. So it should be done like for the, with the manager on a regular. Team leaders are there. You have to discuss with it. So the frequency of reviews can again depend on the criticality. So if it is extremely critical, you have to be made on a regular basis so that the management is informed about their work. Okay, so in that way we can go for like limiting the risk. Okay, next we have the internal audit. So this companies, the company's internal audit, like they will have various programs. Okay, they need to review the systems and policies and will ensure that the quality and the compliance are met. Okay, standards, whatever standards we studied in the module 2, like the COVID or the ISO standards, so these are met. Okay, and then we have external audits also. So external audits, some other peoples from the management or like other organizations then can come and check whether, like basically for the certification they come and check, okay, they are properly maintaining the standards or not. And the last is the like formal risk reporting. So it's very important to like make any risk management processes effective. Like each project maintains a risk register. So you have like in the, now we don't maintain a risk management register, but we can have in a like we can have a separate folder where all the risks are mentioned about the project. So the week project reports are shared with the board or the committee. So we regular reporting is a very good way to like review the system to have an idea what are the risks here. So that is why it's like asked to like we have to like what to say, we have to report it to everything, so we need to document it. So documentation needs to be done in a very like relevant way. Then and the last one, that is the communicate and consult. So as I mentioned that all the risk is happening, you need to inform it to once it is like monitored and it is reviewed, we need to communicate to the stakeholders, whoever have any um, who take any importance to your organization, who plays in like the CEOs, the upper level management, like they should know about the problems you are facing, the risk a project has, like from the start of the project it should be informed to the management. Okay, so it can also happen, there can be risk in the time of like any legal issues. So you can just, if you communicate to them, so they can, if you communicate and consult to them, then what happens, you are try, you can able to avoid such kind of legal issues or political terms because they know the people's right. So what are the like ways of communication? So there are various ways of communication are there. So you can have a meeting. Okay, or you can have a brainstorming session, or you can have a circulation list, training and education sessions, newsletters. So lot of way the risk management, like we can go for the communication where we can inform it. Okay, so this was all about the process of risk management, 7 steps for like risk management. Okay, now tell me if you have any confusion. Yes, people sipping. Okay, yeah, everyone please start studying. Okay, so I please go through the like this one SLM material. If you have any confusion, please do ask me. Okay, just wait, let me take the attendance. Okay, Himanshu, you have question? Okay, okay, thank you everyone, you all can leave now. Okay, we'll meet on Thursday then. Okay.